I'm Evelyn, and I'm a geoholic.
Oh,
there we go.
I would say I'm sorry. Welcome, Geoholics. Oh, it's good to be here. Episode 261.
261.
There she is. Love it. Somebody's got to come up with that. She is back. Welcome, everybody. Good to be here. Glad everyone's here. Happy as always. It feels great. It is a magical day. Really magical just because our lovely friend PETA is back with us, chiming in.
I know.
Got to check in. PETA, what is new? Good to see you, other than the obvious changes with the new haircut. I love it. It looks great. What's new?
Thank you. Well, this was, because I raised money for childhood cancer. So thank you, everybody who did raise money for that, because I got nearly $3,000 or something. That was amazing for that. So yeah. What's new? I don't have a job.
What is new?
If anyone needs some consulting, I'm available. I'm looking at, it's winter over here. It's freezing, and I'm looking at starting up my little businesses.
That's exciting. Maybe a little change of career, something like that.
Yep, change of career. We'll see where it leads over the next few weeks, months. I don't know. We'll see.
I must say that I am quite jealous. I would love the opportunity to kind of reset and recharge and go on to a new endeavor, what that might be.
Yeah.
I know that sounds daunting, and it's privilege for me to say that I'm jealous of you, but it sounds like an amazing opportunity for you.
I tell you, Shawnee, it's when you work so hard for something and you absolutely crash and burn, and I've put it out there on LinkedIn for people to see my story and stuff, it's you need to step back and just breathe. I feel so much better for it. So it's all good. Everything happens for a reason, and
it does.
And I'm feeling good, so it's all good. What about you, Shawnee? What's going on?
Well, it's a busy time. It's the summer. Everything's busy. Had a lot of acquisition I had a new acquisition at the company. Big one. Happy to announce. Big group coming in. And it's been a lot of changes, office moves, starting to settle in the new house. Everything is really good. The best thing, I think everybody that can attest to this, school started back, so we finally have some actual semblance of order. We're getting up earlier. We can rely on a schedule. We can go to work and not have to worry about what's happening. I mean, it just seems like things are being put back into place. Like, summer is great and all, but man, there is something to be said with a schedule and a little bit of structure to get us back in line. Still struggling on the homework side a little bit with a third grader, but we are getting there.
That'll take time.
Got to move along. Our episode sponsor, got to mention Emlid. Have you heard about Winktra Ground? I know they have a new product, Winktra Array, but we still talk about Winktra Ground. All-in-one kit for aerial surveys. Combines all the elements of ground control setup with GNSS receivers powered by Emlid. Automatically connects to the Winktra tablet, providing step-by-step guidance for fast and error-free base and checkpoint setup. To find out more at emlid.com, EMLID.com. Let's talk about that song of the week. Obviously, the song of the week is sponsored by TopoDot. TopoDot's the industry leader in digital twin production from Point Cloud Data. But did you know TopoDot offers a free data governance solution? Take control of your data with TopoShare. It's free. It's great. We talk about it all the time. Check it out on TopoDot.com. TopoShare is definitely where you can store all your project data and streamline your production process at the lowest possible cost, which is free. But PETA, why don't you tell us about that opening song?
The Cure. Oh, I love The Cure. Boys Don't Cry. I haven't heard that song for quite a while. So The Cure is an English rock band.
And they do, by the way. they do, by the way. It's okay.
It is okay. It is okay. That's right. It is. So The Cure is an English rock band. It was formed in 1978 in Crawley in West Sussex by vocalist and guitarist Robert Smith. So they are known for their distinctive blend of post-punk, gothic rock and new wave. The Cure rose to prominence in the late 1970s and 80s with a sound that ranged from moody, atmospheric tracks to bright pop-infused hits. So over more than 4 decades, getting a bit old like us, The Cure has sold millions of records worldwide and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019, so making them one of the most influential alternative bands of all time. Have you seen them?
Yes.
You have seen them.
This is where I have not seen him. This is where Kent, our host, would probably say, "Oh yeah, I saw him in 1983."
I'm pretty sure
and blah blah
he has,
blah blah
yes.
blah.
Yes,
And yeah, I know he's a big fan. So. And I'm sure our guest may have some experience with them as well when we get him in here shortly. Moving on to, we of course are in the Altera studio. Altera Central is the authorized premier Trimble dealer for survey, mapping, GIS, forensics, and marine equipment in Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico. We say this spiel every week, but personally, these guys are great for me and our business. They supply all our equipment. When we need something, we call them up. Or I actually go to thegeoholics.com, click on Marketplace. We'll see the Altera Central there. That's where your spot to find good used equipment or new equipment. They have the best service. They're the best game in town. So to find out more, alteracentral.com. Moving on to our Esri Weekly Pro Tip. I liked this one, so I'm excited about Peter's staying it here. Everyone knows Esri advancing the power of geography for business, government, and society by making the world's most powerful GIS software. Find out more, Esri.com. Peter, what do we got this week?
We have your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning from Bill Gates. It's so
interesting.
True. Well,
what do you think about that?
Well, it's true. I mean, whenever you make a mistake, you're learning from it, aren't you? So...
Well, I hope you are.
Well,
that's the rule, right? You are supposed to be learning from, and it should be your greatest source of learning.
It should be.
Really good stuff there.
Man, you've been given all of the talking today, haven't you?
I know, I really have. Well, it's a good thing because usually my work day is me. I mean, all I do is talk. I mean, I talk on the phone. I talk to other people. Like if I'm working and not speaking to somebody, I'm probably wasting my time. And this day is actually a little different because I sat in a safety presentation about a large general contractor safety program, and they invited us in to learn about their safety program. So I got to listen to someone else talk for about 6 hours today, and it was both it was relieving and painful at the same time because. You know me, I like the spotlight and I like to talk, and I did, and it was actually a great, not a lot of people like talking about safety, but their program was great and how they frame it. And anyway, I can go on to it. But so I have a lot of words built up from this day that I get to get out. So,
all right, well, let's move on.
The GeoSearch Career Corner, looking to hire top talent in the geosciences. GeoSearch has you covered with a free job posting just for Geoholics listeners. As a full-service recruiting company, they specialize in connecting top professionals with the right opportunities.
So with their ad posting service, your job listing reaches nearly 34,000 engaged LinkedIn professionals, maximizing exposure to qualified candidates. So don't miss this chance to build your dream team. Claim your complimentary job post and email liz@geosearch.com today. And as always, happy mapping.
Happy mapping.
Happy mapping.
That's right. You got to take advantage of it. Email
Yes.
Liz. I mean, it
Oh, they're great.
offers a free post, and when you go on there and you just look at the other postings, you're like, man, I need a lot of these positions, and it makes a lot of sense. Very, very
for sure.
focused. Good stuff. All right, moving on to our GeoNet count of the week. I think this might be my favorite segment. By setting up a GeoNet satellite reference station, GeoNet miners not only earn passive crypto income, but also empower critical sectors to function in the real world with precision navigation, including artificial intelligent robots, drones, autonomous vehicles, augmented reality, and the metaverse. Not much sure about the metaverse yet, but we'll see. What's our count going? What's our count up to this week here, Peter?
The count is up to 19,032 satellite miners, which is up from 18,620 last week, over 4,500 cities, 147 countries. Before I move on, Shawnee, did Ken end up getting his?
It has been delivered. There are 2 of them in a box behind me in the studio. We're shipping one out to my dad in North Carolina, who is in a hex where there is no current miner in that hex, so that's perfect for him.
Nice.
Nice little activity for him and my nephew, who is an aspiring surveyor, hopefully, is interested in GIS and surveying. And the other one is going up to Kent's house in Pine. I will give him some credit. It's been miserably hot here in Arizona, so I understand he doesn't want to install it when it's 100. I mean, even his house in the mountains is still over 100 degrees, so we'll give him a little bit of a break, but that's not going to last too long.
And mine, I couldn't get one here because it's already taken.
Oh, really?
Apparently.
That's amazing that it's already there. That's crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, if you want to have a look, go on to geonet.com. Be sure to click on the Find a Hex tab to see if you can put one on your house or place of business and start making money.
That's right. And we also have to mention, we do every week, GeoNet is partnering up with Bad Elf.
Yep.
They provide this amazing offer, $999.99. You can go get a GeoNet RTK service for 5 years. That is a crazy good deal, and the network just keeps growing. To visit badelf.com or bad-elf.com/geonet to find out more. Highly recommend it. Really good stuff. Okay, we're here now. Let's get our guest in here. Obviously, our guest is sponsored by Trimble, dedicated to big thinking innovation. Together with their worldwide distributor partners, the Trimble Geospatial team is working with current and future generations of surveyors for a more sustainable future. I got to insert, we are starting to plan for Trimble Dimensions show coming up in November. Hope to see everyone there. I know we'll get to see Miss Cox there as well. I'm excited about that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to be at the Australian Dimensions.
Oh, that's right. The Australian Dimensions. That's right. What date is that?
That is the 27th and 28th of August in Brisbane, Queensland.
That is in 2 weeks.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Looking forward to it.
And I'm sure you can find out more geospatial.trimble.com. And are you going to by chance do any interviews, or maybe maybe we can get some live interaction going on? I don't know. Maybe.
We'll see.
I mean, we'll plan for that.
See.
Anyway, let's get Dane in here. Our guest, his name's Dane Courville. A little bit about Dane. Born, he told me this, Opelousas, Louisiana. Went to University of Louisiana and the University of Maine at Orono. I'm sure I butchered that. Hobbies, has got some kids, likes to run, woodworking, drawing, and art. His current job title, PLS-II Survey Leader of the Region 1 for Colorado Department of Transportation. Career highlights include licensure, mentorship, authorship. Got to hear more about that. Conference participation and speaking. Dane, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the Geoholics.
My pleasure. Thanks for inviting me. This is great.
I know we had kind of gone back and forth, and I appreciate you being able to spend some time with us, and we're excited to have you here. First things first, we love the origin stories. We like talking about where people come from and where they started, and I love Louisiana. I've been there several times. Talk a little. So first of all, did I say that right?
Yeah, you named all the names perfectly well.
Okay. All right. Well, what was it like growing up in Opelousas?
Well, to be honest, I hated it. But,
okay. All right.
No. Knowing what I know now, it's a great place to be from. It's not necessarily a place I would want to live now, but as a kid, you're always looking out. You're watching movies about people hiking in the mountains, and all I had around me was swamp and water moccasins, and I just wanted out.
Sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I like looking back, I had just such a great childhood, Catholic family, 20 somewhat cousins, tons of aunts and uncles. And my mom was a award-winning Cajun chef. She passed away in 2021. I just want to give her a shout out. She's always with me.
Nice.
But yeah, it was just such a great, wholesome, happy childhood. And I think it was healthy to maybe get out and explore the world. And, but yeah, speaking of Creole, my grandmother, she's 107 years old. And
did you say is like currently
Wow.
107? That is amazing.
107. She'll be 108 next March. So
That's amazing.
but, yeah, she's an awesome person. She speaks English as her second language. I mean, she's Creole to the bone. So that was really cool. When you grow up in an environment like that, you just think that's how it is. And then you leave and you understand, like, oh my God, that was such a unique experience. But,
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, after I went to college in Louisiana, when I was in college, I majored in anthropology and archaeology.
Okay.
And,
Exciting.
my thesis was on Marie Montessori. She was a medical doctor who specialized in anthropology in Italy. And that's what I wanted to be, either an FBI agent or a teacher. And so, yeah, I went into teaching. I just kind of fell into it, and I got my Montessori license, actually. I'm a licensed teacher. And I moved from college in Louisiana, Lafayette, Louisiana, to Houston. I got trained as a Montessorian. And as a teacher, your first summer off, you get to go travel. So that's what I did. And I moved out to Nevada and Idaho working for the BLM, doing archaeology work. I was just volunteering for the BLM. I had the summer off, and it ended up being a really cool, awesome experience. That's actually where I learned how to use surveying equipment, was doing that. Because up until that point, I knew nothing about survey. Like I thought it was landscaping. I had no idea about the profession, anything. And now I'm using GPS units and total stations and just mapping out roads. I mapped out the Pony Express out there through White Pine District. And out of all that, I ended up meeting my wife there as well.
So were you teaching yourself how to use all this equipment?
Yeah, I was working with the archaeologist, and he ended up just training me, basically. So we were using total stations to see how far down we were digging in the archaeological holes and stuff like that. So,
and then at that time, were you doing anything with that? Were you dropping that into a map to like an overall map, or like what was other than just knowing where you're at in that spot? What were you using that for later?
Right. So we would bring all that data in for our archaeological reports, but then also a side job of mine was mapping out trails, because out in the high desert of that district, it was the White Pine District of the BLM in eastern. It was in Ely, Nevada. Okay. And so I would map out roads and trails all over the place. And the reason I was doing that was so that they could monitor what trails were new year after year, so they could try and remediate people going where they shouldn't be going and all that. Okay. And that's really where I learned how to map, because we would bring all that data in and make these awesome maps out of all the trail systems in that entire district. And I absolutely love that part of it too. So I was learning survey equipment, and then I was learning how to map. It was all GIS at this point. There was no AutoCAD and stuff like that, but it was the foundation of it. And I was really, really enjoying it. And then we would map out, you find all kinds of stuff out in the desert, dump pile, trash.
Yeah.
methamphetamine labs. I mean,
Well, I mean that's the hub, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh man, it was. I saw some. Our district was surrounding Area 51 as well. And
Oh, no
my job
kidding.
was requiring me to camp out 4 nights a week, so we were camping out in the desert. And I don't believe in aliens. I know I might get a lot of slack for that, but I saw stuff that I can't explain out in the desert. It was an amazing experience.
Okay, so you can't. You have to give us at least one thing that you saw that you can't explain, and it's okay to say. I mean, Kent's not here, but he's kind of a believer, so it's okay. I mean, I'm not either, but I'm with you. But I'm just curious. What was it? Just like random lights, or
it was random hovering lights, stationary, and then they would move really quick, and then they would stop and then disappear. They'd come back somewhere else. They were so deceiving in that night sky. It's so dark and so black. I couldn't tell if they were 300 feet away or 300 miles away. I couldn't, your brain didn't let you detect the distance because it's just a dot. So I didn't know if I could touch it or if it was far. I do remember that feeling.
No sound to it. Just
no,
light?
absolutely no sound. And that's what was weird because during the day, it was non-stop explosion. Like they were breaking the sound barrier all day long. It sounded like thunder and lightning all day. And I thought it was. I went back to my boss the first week and I was like, man, I thought it was going to rain on us. He said, what do you mean? I said, it thundered the entire time. He's like, no, that's the sound barrier. And sure enough, he said, go look next week. You'll see the little cones behind the planes. And I was like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then they would play with us. The pilots would play with us sometimes, like swoop down on us. And it was awesome.
What's the deal with the desert and aliens? Like, why do they always end up in the middle of the desert? I don't understand.
They don't like water.
I can't explain it.
I guess it's the Signs movie. Like they're afraid of water, so they go to the least water populated place.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So. Okay, so you caught the bug, right? You're doing your archaeological thing, and you're starting to get it. How did you transition into a survey career?
Right. So I also met my girlfriend out there. She's now my wife. Her name is Brittany, and so I met Brittany. She was working at the BLM as well, and she was doing environmental science, and we loved it out there, but we were ready to go. It was time for us to leave. So we actually, from there, we left and I went travel all over South America for like 4 months. I mean, from the jungle all the way down almost to Antarctica, like the whole thing. We traveled around, hiked Machu Picchu. I mean, you name it, we did it. It was awesome. And then right when we got back from that trip, we found out that my wife's mother was really sick. And my wife was born and raised in Maine. So obviously she wanted to go back and live with her mom while she passed away. So we ended up moving up to Maine. I love New England. I spent some time in Vermont during college. So I was all on board. I was like, yep, let's go. So we went up there and I didn't have a job. So I looked in the newspaper like in the olden days.
Yeah, okay.
I was actually working at Old Town Canoe Factory, writing manuals on how to build the boats, like all the different like there's different models of boats. And I had to document so that when they hired new people, they knew where to drill the holes and what kind of knot and all that stuff. So I was doing that as a temporary gig. It was cool, but I wanted something else. And I looked in the newspaper and I saw this local surveyor hiring. And I was like, man, I know how to use the equipment. So I called him up. He's like, yeah, I need you. When can you start? I didn't even interview.
Right.
Love it. Yeah. And that was day one. I went. His name was Daryl again, one of the best guys I ever met. I'm not lucky in all aspects of my life, but there are certain things that I'm just the right place at the right time.
Right. Yeah.
That was definitely one of them.
That's everything happens for a reason kind of
thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So I want to say my mother-in-law ended up turning out okay. She's perfectly fine. It's been 20. Yeah. So that all worked out well too. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. Unbelievable woman. it was such a good experience living there and seeing how my wife was born and raised, because it was polar opposites from me. I mean, unbelievable. Her parents are completely like self-sustainable, living off the land. It's like something out of a storybook up in northern Maine. So,
wow.
And my dad works for Halliburton and lives downtown Houston. So it's two ends of the spectrum.
Really?
Yeah.
So with you come to
ahead,
when you started working for the surveyor, obviously getting that job straight away, that sort of made you think about that's where you wanted your career to go.
100%.
How did you sort of get through that process then? You've got your degree, because I know each state you've got to have different things to get licensed and everything. Tell me a little bit how you got to...
Yeah. So, day one, I remember the very first thing I ever did was he took me outside and I set up a tripod with a tri-brack, showed me how to look through the little thing over the nail.
Don't worry, that's what I call it too, Dane. It's fine. It's just a little thing,
So I did that, and this guy was it was awesome because it was just him and I. So I was the assistant surveyor. I did research. I answered the phone. I was out in the field with him. I did the drafting with him. I did the control layout. And he just kept feeding me more. The more I wanted, the more he was like, the more you do, the less I have to do, And he was always stressed out. And so it felt like I was accomplishing something. Like I could relieve this from him. Like, no, Daryl, I know how to look up the grand tours now. And so I remember I hired on August 1st of 2005. And I remember that because Hurricane Katrina was hitting Louisiana. So my whole family was evacuating and stuff, I remember. So I hired on August 1st, and I took my LSIT exam that October. So within a month and a half, I was already testing. And that wasn't because of me. That was because of Daryl.
Okay.
He had my social security number from being hired with him. He had my name, address, social security number. So I came to work one day and he's like, "Hey, I signed you up for this exam." I didn't even know what it was. And I took it. I didn't know the difference between a bearing and an azimuth. I knew nothing. I knew how to set up a tripod. That was about it. And I took the test and I failed. And I remember it was even though I knew I was going to fail because I didn't know anything, I didn't even study. He just wanted me, he said, just go take the test, get a feel for it, see what it's like, and then I'll buy you these books, and next April you'll be ready for it. And that's what it did. It was like a personal vendetta at that point. Like, I'm gonna do this,
Nice.
So, I got my LSIT within 8 months of starting. And that was a blessing in disguise too, because in the state of Maine, you don't have to have a college degree in survey, but you have to have core curriculum.
Okay.
So
I'm sure you got a lot of that already, right?
I had a lot of it, but I didn't have all the survey stuff because I had all the biology and the physics and the, all the mathematics. I had all that, but I didn't have the survey classes. So I had to find a school to go to. And lo and behold, 20 minutes away in Orono, Maine, is the University of Maine. And they have one of the best survey schools in the country. It's them in Frederick State. I mean, I had professors, people are going to know this, but Ray Hintz, Knut Hermansen, Carlson. I mean, these guys are like the godfathers of survey. And so once again, the right place at the right time. I was so lucky. So not only am I learning survey during all this, but I'm being encouraged that survey is a way of life. You know what I mean? And it truly is in Maine. It's like a species of human that is a surveyor there, because they're extremely important because of the logging industry.
Got to tell you about our friends at Diamondback Land Surveying. DBLS was born out of a vision to create a company that would redefine excellence in the land surveying profession.
Our good friend Trent Keenan definitely does that.
That he does.
Today, they stand proud, having transformed that vision into a reality. Over the years, they have not only shaped the landscape of our industry, but also forged lasting relationships with our cherished clients, supportive friends, and invaluable employees.
Looking ahead, the future is bright for Diamondback Land Surveying. They stand poised to embrace new technologies, adopt innovative methodologies, and continue pushing the boundaries of excellence in our field.
To find out more, go to diamondbacklandsurveying.com. Hexagon, one of the new kids on the block.
That's right. Well, for us.
For us, yes. Yeah. Hexagon is the global leader in digital reality solutions combining sensor, software, and autonomous technologies.
Yeah, their solutions free their customers to harness the rapidly increasing amounts of data, putting it to work to boost efficiency, productivity, quality, and safety across industrial, manufacturing, infrastructure, public sector, and mobility applications.
Hexagon's strategy targets the rapidly widening gap between the enormous amounts of data being created and the world's ability to harness it. To find out more, visit hexagon.com.
Well, can you expand on that a little bit? Why is it? I'm sure it's about knowing where you're at and knowing where you can and can't log. But why is it so critical?
Yeah, that's mainly why. So the fields of forestry and survey are heavily related there. There's a lot of surveyors that are also foresters and vice versa.
Okay.
And the reasoning is because Maine has 12 counties. Oh, shoot, I should know this. 12 or 16 counties. I think it's 16. But there's one county. It's called Aroostook County. If you look at a county map of Maine, you'll see it right away. It takes up like 2/3 of the state. So you got the rest of the state are a bunch of these little tiny counties. And then you got Aroostook, which is that entire big hump of the state of Maine. And that entire hump is nothing but woodland. I mean, it's just virgin forest. It's absolutely stunning up. I mean, it feels like you've been where no one has been. It's crazy. It feels like the West, but out east.
Right.
And,
yeah. The West beautiful. With trees.
Yes, exactly. It's dense, those dense pine and oak and maple, birch. But yeah, and it's made up of all these logging companies that go and harvest all these trees for lumber and paper. And they all want to know where they can stop harvesting. So they're given their property boundaries where they can't go, but also the foresters are telling them, no, you can't cut right here. There's too much slope. It's going to affect this wetland or whatever. So they need to know where all these boundaries are. And it's actually very good surveying because you don't have to be Nat's ass. You can be within 2 or 3 feet. So you can use GPS all day long when you're doing these. It's not like laying out a foundation, right?
Sure.
Because these companies, they're going to stay off of those lines, 40 feet anyway, because if they cut one tree on the next company's land, it's going to be a huge ordeal, right? So if you look at Maine on Google Earth and you zoom in, you'll see these big green swaths. And that's the boundary lines between these companies. No one wants to get anywhere near them. Because they don't want to tick someone else off, right? So
that's interesting.
Also,
yeah, it's really, really cool. I go to Oregon a lot. I'm licensed in Oregon, and it's the same. I've never been to places that have such similarities as far as the respect for surveyors, the need for surveyors, what the surveyors are doing, how the surveyors dress. There's a lot of similarities between the two. I love it.
Huh.
And people think survey dies in the winter, but up there, that's the busy season because that's when all these loggers are really doing their work because that's when the ground is frozen solid, right? Come spring and summer, it's just going to be a mud bath. So,
I didn't think about that. So you're doing all
your work in 5 feet of snow the whole time too.
Well, you mentioned good surveying, and you do have an very interesting perspective because surveying in 2 different sides of the country. But what from your experience, like what are you mentioned some states that make really good surveyors or respect the profession. Like, what's your experience in surveying in so many different areas of the country?
Yeah, so I really lucked out when I was in Maine. It's surveyors, like I said, they really are. I want to say revered. Like people really, they know who they are. They know what they do. They know why they're there. You go to other states and that's not necessarily the case, you know? So after Maine, we were there for 6 years. I got licensed in Maine. And then my wife wanted to go back to grad school. So we moved to Austin, Texas.
Okay. That's why you're in Texas. Okay.
Yep. So we moved from Maine to Texas. And it was time for me to be by my side of the family because my family had moved to Houston at that point. So we moved to Austin. She was starting grad school. Still no kids. And I started with this firm, surveying and mapping. They're called SAM.
Yep.
And I owe a lot of my career to them. They are a great group of people. It's been a while since I've worked for them, but when I left them, man, they were an awesome company. So I worked with them, and my calling there really kind of went from forestry work to oil and gas and transmission lines and wind farms. So that's kind of, because up in Maine, I was doing the forestry and land development. We would lay out subdivisions, and they call them mortgage loan inspections up there. They're called ILCs here in Colorado, but that's, when you go to the mortgage company. So we moved to Texas. And so when you go there, I mean, surveyors I wouldn't say they're not respected, but they're kind of like under the radar, I would think.
Yeah.
And then when you start working for oil and gas companies, surveyors become a thorn in their side, right? Because you're more of the necessary evil that you have to do it. But, I can see that. Exactly. And I want to touch a little bit about that too. We're going to get to that, but that's a whole other story, that whole industry. And I'd love to talk about that. But so I don't know. I went from that main environment to this new environment where I'm doing stuff where you're really considered just something that they have to hire, not something that they want to hire. So and that it does a lot on your psyche, when you're working for a client that really doesn't want to be paying you, but they have to because of FERC laws or whatever it may be,
Well, we can talk a little bit about that. Like, what do you think that biggest difference is? I mean, obviously the way that the way the profession is perceived, or is that really the biggest difference between a state like Maine and Texas, or is it the number of available surveyors that maybe there's just more there, so they look at them differently? What do you think the differences are?
It could be the surveyor population. I really think it's, time is money. So when you're doing a transmission line or a pipeline, the sooner they get that power flowing or that gas flowing, that company's going to be making, ton of money. And to prove that, I remember I built a 120-mile long pipeline through Southwest Louisiana when I was living in Texas. And we were ahead of schedule. I forget how many days, it was like a month ahead of schedule. And the CEO of that power company came up to me and he said, you saved us X amount of dollars by being done faster than y'all were expected to be. And I was all happy about it. And he said, that could pay for y'all survey services 300 times over is what he told me. So, just letting that oil flow 3 days earlier would have completely paid what y'all did for the last 2.5 years.
Wow.
I know. Just think about that. Think about, so after that guy told me that, I really did try to make a stand for myself on other projects. Like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right. If it means we can't get it done on Thursday and we have to wait till Monday, that's just going to be how it is. I don't want to be a big pain, but I'm not going to skimp my liability for that situation when I know better now, So I'm telling you that to rub it in, but at the end of the day, it was a big factor to me. Like, I need to take pride in this just as much as I did in that surveying up in Maine.
Yeah. And do you think do you think that's kind of the key? Like, what were your big takeaways after you kind of had that experience in Texas? Was it that, or did you have a new perspective on the profession?
I did. I was just so coddled, with my first 6 years of surveying, that I realized that, hey, this isn't always going to be, hunky dory. There's going to be some stress involved here,
Right.
So yeah, that definitely was that for me. But I don't know, like it's a totally different type of surveying. So now I got to learn new things, and I worked with some people in that industry that, I mean, it'll blow your mind the amount of knowledge these people have. There's one guy, his name is Pat Davis, and he's a pipeline inspector. And this guy, man, he taught me how to design pipelines. He taught me, oh no, you don't want to do that. You want to make that a field bend because you're approaching this road. You need to hit that road at a 90-degree angle, and we need to do this to avoid this horizontal directional drill. And this landowner is going to be complaining. Let's spend a little bit of, it was just all these little nuances that this guy knew. And that's what I latched on. So I told myself, if I'm going to be doing this type of work, I better start enjoying it. And you can find people that make work enjoyable no matter what you're doing. Another guy, you interviewed him, but Adam. So, he was the client, but just the rapport with him and trying to please him and make sure that he could go tell his boss, hey, we're going to get this project done at this cost. They said it was going to be this. It's a little bit better. It's just so much more enjoyable if you can make someone happy or give them a good product. And that's just kind of what you have to latch on to. That can go for any type of surveying, whether it's forestry, laying out foundations, it doesn't matter, but Adam Shorger, that he was another one. Pat Davis.
Yeah, I remember Adam. Yeah. Yep. And you mentioned one of your career highlights was mentoring. Is that kind of where you caught that bug of mentoring? Meeting some of these folks along the way and being able to learn and absorb so much.
100%. Yeah. And, I've always wanted to be a teacher. That's why I went into Montessori in the first place. And I tutored all through high school, all through college. I know it sounds selfish, but if you can teach someone something, that means you know it, right? So that's what I've always thought of it that way. So I always want to learn something to the point where I can explain it to someone else. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, you're just reinforcing it. I enjoy teaching Adam about survey, and he enjoyed teaching me about GIS. That was a good relationship. We were building off of each other. I was learning about the ins and outs of investing and why these pipelines need these types of investments and who they're getting the money from. And I didn't know any of that. But once you understand that, you start to make sense of it. But yeah, mentoring, I love that client relationship that I do. It, someone's hiring me to be a surveyor for them. Why not explain to them what I'm doing? Like, they have no idea. Like, what the hell does that piece of metal rebar on the ground mean? It doesn't mean anything to them. But if I explain it to them, they get something out of it. I'm giving them a service. They learn something. And now they're more educated for the next surveyor, mm-hmm. or hopefully me again.
I think that's one really big important part of surveying is that people don't know what it is or understand what it is that surveyors do. And to be able to explain it to them and give them that this is what we do and why we do it makes a massive difference, no matter whether you're working in, your construction or your infrastructure or, your land boundary stuff. It doesn't really matter. Once they understand what it is and the reasoning behind it, it makes for a better client.
Yep. And it benefits it. It's a win-win situation. Like, why not do that? And then you're getting something out of it too. A, you're making someone happy.
Yep.
But also B, you're at the point in your career where you can teach someone what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you can't, maybe you need to second guess yourself on, if you can't explain why you're holding that pin, not that pin, and why his fence is on their property now, well,
maybe you don't know it well enough. Yeah. Well, it is interesting that I get the pleasure of speaking with two people with some education experience, and I've definitely caught that bug. It's interesting to get that perspective. Dane, I am curious on what you're doing now. Talk a little bit about how you kind of transition to your current position, and I'm guessing it's an opportunity to continue mentoring and educating the rest of the group.
So after Sam, I built pipelines for about 10 years. The pandemic hit and oil was negative $32 a barrel. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And, huge oil containers out in the middle of the Gulf trying to find where to dump it. And I got kind of scared, to be honest with you. So I was at SAM in Austin, and then they transferred me up to the Denver office. So I was there for about 5 years, and that's where I was working with Adam. I built all kinds of pipelines all over eastern Wyoming at that point. And then the pandemic hit, and I got kind of fearful. But in our office, at the Denver SAM office, there were these two gentlemen, three actually, Dave Stewart, Kevin Williams, and Corey Guerrero. They were all retired CDOT, Colorado Department of Transportation workers, who had worked their full careers with the department, retired, and now they're in the private sector. And it was unfortunate because I never got to work with them. They were doing transportation, I was doing oil and gas, but they were just such great humans. Like, these guys were just so nice, so knowledgeable, and I would see them doing these plans, beautiful plans. They weren't pipeline alignment sheets, is all I knew. So,
right, yeah, right.
So I was like,
in the middle of nowhere, right? Yeah, there's a little bit more to it.
Yeah. So, I was envious of them, and I would talk with them, and they all would tell me this. We would go out to lunch, and they'd all tell me, "Man, you need to look at a career there. You'd be great at it. I'm telling you, you would love it." Mm. And in my mind, I thought transportation. I thought blue topping. I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm going to stake out roads for the rest of my life. Like, that is not what I want to do." And I finally told that to them one day, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" "No, we just do like boundary surveys." And I was like, "Really?" And they told me that like on a Thursday. By the next Tuesday, I had a job offer at CDOT. I was so excited. Oh, wow. And I've been there for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. That was in 2020. Yeah, so that's where I am now. And what I'm doing there is, I have, I think, the best job in the world. I get to talk to landowners, and all I do is analyze boundary all day long. That's my job. As I go out, hike up in the mountains, find some section monuments, and build these beautiful right-of-way models. And it's a great, great job. I absolutely love it. And also, on top of that, I can only work 40 hours because I'm with the state, right? So now I have all this extra time. I'm used to working 70-hour weeks.
Right.
We know that.
Yeah. So I have all this extra time, and the pandemic was in full force. Mm-hmm. And another aspect of my career is I've always really tried to mentor the people around me, like in my office.
Yeah.
Don't like that approach of these companies going out and saying, "Oh, we need to hire a PLS. We need to hire a party chief." No, you don't. You have that party chief in your office right now. He's just the IMAN. You have that PLS in front of you right now. He's just the office tech right now. Yeah. Like, take those people and make them who you want. It's a lot easier to go find an IMAN. It's hard to find a PLS, So that I think that's my responsibility as a surveyor, as a professional with a license. It's your responsibility to help people get to where you are, because I'm not going to be my grandmother living to 107. I'm going to die, So I don't know. Like, I really have always thought of that as a very important aspect of my job. And with CDOT, it's awesome because I have the time now to do that, I can actually, so I've made a whole program in the state where I invite all the survey techs in the entire state, and every Wednesday from 2:30 to 4, all we do is we do test questions. I go through all my PowerPoint presentations. We just talk about theory, or someone will bring a problem and like, why is this like this? We all have the time to do that.
So,
and it's
sorry,
it's
Dane.
awesome.
So, Dane,
No.
I remember a while ago, I can't remember how long it was ago, that you started sending out, was it a question a week?
Yeah, that's how
Is that how it started?
That is how it started. Yeah, I would get these questions from my guys, and I would put them on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And one person, I want to give him a shout out. I worked with him at SAM. Man, I cannot remember his name now. He's in New Jersey. I feel so bad. It's slipping my mind. I might think of it. If I do, I'll say it. But he LinkedIn messaged me and he said, Dane, why don't you write a book? And I read that message. It was like 5 words. And I thought, why the hell not? Like, I'm stuck in my house. I can't do anything. I'm canceling Hawaii vacations. I got nothing to do. Why not just put all my notes that I've been teaching for all those years? I had 15 years of notes at this point teaching people. I was like, I have it all written down. Let me just compose it in a nice, neat fashion. And that's what I ended up doing. And, man, I really want to remember this guy's name because he really did put he put the spark in me.
It'll come to you.
Yeah.
It'll come. And if not, good on you. Yeah. Good on you, mate.
Yeah,
so how long did it take you to write this book?
I was super, super excited about it, man. Like when I get my head wrapped around something, I'm like, that's all I can think about. Mm-hmm. And I would say from start to finish, about 6 or 7 months, maybe something like that.
Oh,
and
wow.
then it was about 2 months of my wife being my editor, reading it, and she didn't have a survey mind. So
how was that experience, by the way?
Yeah, she is way more intelligent than I am. So
okay, well said. Nicely done.
Yeah. She's absolutely brilliant. And I'm not just saying that because she's going to listen, but I actually, and I have like the utmost faith and trust. I'm an absolute moron. I actually need her to help me live. But anyway, she would read it and redline it, and I would, maybe some of them I had an argument like, no, that needs to be like that, but all the grammatical stuff and the number stuff, that was all that's all her. So I wrote that and then put it all together, and I self-published it, and it has done absolutely. I remember telling myself, if I can make $5,000, that would be awesome. 7 months of work on the side for $5,000. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
But man, I make it's unbelievable. I sell on average like 50 to 100 of them a month, and they're going for they're going for like $40 a pop. I sell to people in Australia, Lithuania, Russia.
That is amazing.
I don't know buying it or why, but
so what's the name of it, and how can people find it?
So it's called Fundamentals of Surveying Exam Study Manual.
Okay.
And the entire book, the whole premise of the book is I took NCES is the test-taking organization, and they provide to you a list of items that you have to know to pass the FS and the PS exams. So I took those lists and I made a chapter for every single item on that list. So every single item is covered in that book. And then they also give you they call it a reference handbook. It's a list of all the equations needed, right? So, I mean, technically speaking, if they don't list it, they can't test you on it. So everything on that list is going to be fair game for them. So you better know it to take the exam, right? So that's what I did. I broke down every equation and every exam recommended topic in the book, and that's what it is. You can get it it's called Fundamentals of Surveying, Exam Study Manual. It's on Amazon, but I also have a website called surveyingmanual.myshopify.com. And on there, you will find all kinds of other stuff that I've written. I've written children's books. I wrote a book on how to pass the Texas state exam. And I make T-shirts. I offer my teaching and speaker engagement stuff. So there's a lot of good information on that website. And I'm not the only person really striving to do this. There's Kyle Brooks. Have you interviewed him yet?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, Kyle Brooks. He's out of California. And yeah, he's a great guy too. He's really trying. He's got the mentorship bug too.
Monson Engineering. Yeah. Love these guys. Monson Engineering is a leading supplier of surveying, GIS mapping, scanning solution products for the design build industry in the Intermountain West since 1974.
Wow, been doing it a while, mainly because they pride themselves in being your one-stop shop throughout all phases of your project, planning to completion.
From drones to lasers, total stations, or high-accuracy GPS equipment, they have what you need when you need it. To find out more, simply visit monsonengineering.com.
Let's talk about Aerotech Mapping for a little bit. Aerotech Mapping has been supplying high-quality geospatial solutions, services, and support for the AEC industry since 2002.
They have indeed. They also specialize in large-scale design-level photogrammetry for a variety of sectors within the AEC industry, including aviation, transportation, energy, commercial development, mining, public works, and wastewater, just to name a few.
Yeah, that's right. At Aerotech Mapping, they take great pride in the work that they do, all created by an amazing team of professionals. To find out more, visit atmlv.com.
So, Dane, can I ask, with the fundamentals of surveying, I'm pretty sure I've read somewhere or I've heard it being said before that the exams that are taken are more about the education side, not what you need to know for surveying.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So I made a comment when y'all asked me about topics and stuff, and I always, when I go to these speaking engagements and these annual surveyor conferences across the country, I always try to make sure I make it known to everyone sitting in that room when they're stressed about taking these tests. There's 3 things you need to know to pass these exams. You need to know, obviously, the material, right? You got to know how to survey. But you also need to know how to take an exam, and you also have to have confidence. And I tell everyone, if I was asked to gamble on someone, I would put my money on someone that knew how to take a test and could care less and was scot-free and calm going into the exam than someone that was a surveying genius, but they were a nervous wreck and they had no idea how to take a test, right? Like, if you really think about it, it's really, if you boil it down, it's about confidence and knowing how to read that question as fast as you can, as coherently as you can, and pick up those key words. Yeah. Like, they're going to say stuff like statutory period of time, hostile environment. Immediately I know the answer is going to be adverse possession without even looking at the options, right? Because those are those key words that they're trying to, like, they want you to know the elements of adverse possession. That's what they're testing you on. So just knowing how to read that question, knowing how to pick up on keywords, and then also knowing how to eliminate stupid options. Like if they're asking for a distance and you see pounds or acres, then you can throw those out. Now you only have 2 options, not 4. So that's
I used to call it use the test to do the test. Like,
yep.
There is a lot of answers in there, and sometimes question 5 will help you answer question 20.
Yep.
And, like, there'll be an answer in the question somewhere for something else, and it's okay.
I remember when I took my FS exam for the second time and I passed it, there was this sentence and it said to count how many misspelled words were in the sentence. And one of the words was misspelled, right?
Yeah, right. And they misspelled?
Yeah, they did. And when I read the question, I didn't know if misspelled had one S or two S's. I was like, God dang it! I'm going to get the double proportioning right, but I can't get this damn thing right. You know?
Right.
And so I was all ticked off. But then I read the instructions up above it, and it said pick out how many misspellings, and it was spelled right there for me. And I was like, oh yeah,
exactly. Yes, they spelled misspellings for you.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
love it.
That's exactly right. So yeah,
I mean that's really good tips, especially with some of the younger surveyors that are taking exams for the first time. This is not maybe their forte of taking tests,
exactly.
So that kind of leads me into some of the challenges that we face, and how do you bring young surveyors into the business? I mean, they're not all going to be in Maine and be, pounced around and regarded as such royalty as they are in the rest of the country or the world. So, given that, maybe they're not the best test takers and best students, how do you pull guys into this profession?
Yeah. So everyone always leans on, when we go to high schools and we tell these high schoolers to come into our profession, we got to make sure to tell them about drones and LiDAR and technology. And that might be true for some of them, but it also might scare some. Like if you would have told me that, I would have been like, there's no way in hell I want to do that. Like I don't video game. I don't, I can't take a computer apart. I hate processing LiDAR. I don't.
Same.
It's not really my forte. I much prefer putting on my hiking boots and going with a Schoenstatt looking for that section monument a mile in, by the river where I can eat my lunch and, have a great day. That's what I want out of it. So I don't want, if I get one message out tonight, it's that. It's like, I want to make sure that we're not just catering to the younger crowd, assuming that they like that kind of stuff, because there might be some that don't. So we need to explain to these younger surveyors, there's a wide variety. If you're a historian, this is one of the best professions to be in. In Maine, I would chase deeds back to 1700s and have to go to Massachusetts because Maine was part of Massachusetts, right? I mean, I saw with my own eyes a deed that John Hancock signed. It was a John Hancock of a John Hancock. So, I mean, if you like history, this is probably one of the best things you can do. If you like legal matters and law, man, you can help lawyers out all day long. Legal descriptions, what's important about this easement or not. Mathematics. I mean, I love math. That's probably one of my favorite things about surveying.
I don't.
Yeah. I mean,
but isn't that what's the greatest thing?
Yes.
Like I'm looking at two survey teachers and probably different interests, different things that make them excited about it, but you're still doing the same thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. You go through, and I've always said, do you like maths? Do you like geography? Do you like history? Do you like computer games? Do you like tech drawing and drafting? Do you like arts? That nearly every area in school, we have somewhere that we can fit you into surveying. There is so many different areas that we can find that little niche for you. It's brilliant.
Architecture, staking out foundations, biology. I mean, in Maine, I was literally told, just go out there where the hornbeams are and you'll find it. Well, what the hell is a hornbeam? I had to figure that out. It's an awesome tree, by the way. But anyway, so there's biology, there's math, there's history, there's geography. One part that I love about it is the art side of it, like making a plat, drawing your own north arrow when you have time, and making it pretty, and the scrolling borders, or even looking at the older plats from the olden times when they actually took pride and it was all hand done, and there's that whole artistic side to this too. So
you try telling a class full of boys that their plan needs to look pretty.
That's awesome.
And they all sit there and go, what? It's got to look
someone
nice.
might think that's their thing.
It has to look nice. You've got to understand it. It's got to be clear. It's got to be concise. it's not the way it
makes
needs to
sense
be.
as this detail does that, and
So Dane, I've got a few more questions before we wrap it up. I did like this one that was on our list. If you could change one misconception the public has about surveying, what would it be, and what would you communicate the truth, or how would you communicate the truth?
All right. The big misconception is, I thought about this one, and it's not. We need to let the public know that this is an opinion, or like it's an expert opinion field, right? Sure, I'm going to go out and I'm going to do some really tight measurements on your property, okay? And you're supposed to have your back line is 103.97 feet long, okay? Yeah, there is math and science behind that. But also, they really need to understand that I can't just blindly hold that distance. There's going to be a aspect of opinion that is involved in that decision. The deed calls for 2 iron rebar. Well, I get there and I see 2 iron pipes. Okay. Well, now it's up to me. Was that an error in that deed? Were those pipes replaced by rebar? Do they look old enough to hold? There's a lot of analysis that goes into this beyond the math and the angle, right? The bearing and the distance. There's more to it. And we really need to have the public understand that. And I think if we can get people to understand that, then they'll understand why they need us, because we have the experience and the expertise to make those calls. And I also love it because that's not something that AI is going to be able to do anytime soon, right?
Right.
There's the old saying, you hire 10 surveyors to survey your property, you're going to get 11 different options, right? So, well, that's the same reason that we're shielded from AI for a little bit longer. I'm not saying you'll never get there. I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I think.
But you need a professional interpretation, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, and I don't think. I think some people in our profession don't understand that, and I think the public definitely doesn't understand that. So I would really like to get that message out. And back to when we started talking, that communication with your client or with that landowner, when you're teaching them what you're doing, remember I said that? Well, that's one opportunity to actually do that. Explain to them, well, your deed calls for a rebar, but look at this, sir. This is a rock mound, so you know what I mean? So there's some interpretation there.
And that kind of goes into one of the last questions I have. And you do have one of those careers that spans a lot of the different aspects of this business. You talked about logging to oil and gas, and now you're kind of in that pure boundary and getting into a little bit. What are some of the aspects of surveying that have kind of carried through all the different areas you've done it and different jobs that you've had?
Control networks. No matter what we're doing, you really have to understand control points, the relationships of your control on a project, whether it's setting out foundations or control within a pipeline corridor, control on a right-of-way mapping project. You always need that control. You need that start point. You need those checks. And that, honestly, that's one aspect of surveying that I don't think I will ever feel extremely confident with. I'm always second guessing myself. And is this scale factor the right scale factor? Is the project origin point where it should be? And why is that? Because nowadays we have these $40,000 GPS heads that are telling us everything we need to know. And God knows what's happening inside that thing, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you plug it into TBC or whatever project, whatever software you're using, and it's going to spit out an answer. It's almost too good at spitting out answers.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to understand why it is doing that.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think understanding control and the foundations of surveying are always going to be the same. Everything is an angle and a distance, right? That's all it is. When I teach how to take these tests, I tell everyone the same thing. I make sure to tell them if you know proportioning or ratios and right triangles, you can do every survey mathematic that you can think of. It's all about ratios and right triangles over and over. Ratios, you'll see them in double proportioning, scaling, grid to ground scale factors, photogrammetry. It goes on and on and on. The same thing with right triangles. Everything is a right triangle, latitude, departure. That's all it is, over and over and over. So if you go into the test knowing two things, know those two things like the back of your hand, and you'll have 80% of the questions right.
Well, that's all you need to pass, right? Get 80%, you're good to go.
Exactly. So,
what else do you have, Peter? It's been a great conversation. I mean, I love the perspective. It's awesome.
I just want to touch on one more thing. Just you do speak at a lot of conferences. You've been on Mentoring Mondays, all of that sort of stuff. What's one of the main messages that you want to get across to anybody hearing you speak and talk about surveying, and the most important message that you could give to any surveyor, no matter where they are in their career?
Yeah. Just give yourself a goal, whatever that is. Always have that desire to learn. You know, if you're not learning, you're not an enthusiast. And if you're not an enthusiast, you don't deserve to be there, in my opinion. You know, I don't need grumpy people around me all day long, hating what they do, right? No one does. So just be happy about what you do, be enthusiastic about what you do. The best way to do that is just to set goals and learn. And, you know, that goal can be anything. It doesn't have to be licensure. Some of the best surveyors I know are not licensed. Some of the worst surveyors I know are licensed, right? So it's not a matter of getting licensed, but if that's a goal for you, I have some gentlemen right now that are scared to get their license. They're smarter than me. And I'm like, go take the damn test. You're going to do fine. And he told me, I don't know if I want to be, I'm scared to be like, I was like, go pass the test, put the license in your drawer and don't tell anyone. I said, now you have the right to call yourself a surveyor. You've done it. And then over the years, over the months, weeks, maybe, you're going to change that attitude, and you aren't going to be a guy out in the field, 65 years old with two bad hips trying to, you know, make a living. Because to me, that's what scared me. Walking around the woods in Maine, I was one stick in the eye from not having a job if I didn't have a light. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was one broken femur away from unemployment. And that's a scary feeling. Like, with a license, I'm not saying I'll be a good surveyor, but I'm saying I'll have other options, you know? At least it'll look good on a resume for me to get a job, maybe, you know? Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, just set a goal and work towards it. If it takes you 2 months or 20 years, it doesn't matter. Just, it's your own personal little nugget of, it's that light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Well, I love it.
That's my advice.
All right. That's actually really good stuff. We usually wrap up the show with one big question, but we're going to ask you a couple quick fire questions. Peter, do you want to take these or you want me to do it?
I'll do the first one.
All right, go for it.
Dane, what's the first job you ever had?
First job was a screen printer. I was I printed T-shirts for Tyke Tees in Opelousas, Louisiana.
That's cool.
Probably one of the best jobs I ever had.
What's one food you could eat every day and never get sick of?
My mom's chicken salad sandwiches with Cheez-Its and cranberry grape juice. That would be my meal.
Wow.
I would give anything for my mom's chicken salad sandwich right now, man. It would be the best. Y'all have no idea.
If you weren't a surveyor, what would you be doing?
Probably a teacher. My life goal was become an FBI agent. That was what I wanted to do. That's why I went into anthropology. If you look up on the FBI application page, it recommends anthropology as the degree because it's like an all-encompassing. Yeah. So that's why I did it. And I'm glad because it kind of geared me in life. It kept me away from drinking and drugs because I was scared to death to have to lie to the people that come interview for the jobs. Like, have you ever done drugs? I'm like, no. So, I don't know.
Oh, I love it. Man, this has been great. Great experience. Dane, do you have anything else before we let you go? Do you want to get out there?
Yeah, man. I just want all those up and coming surveyors, look at it like it's a fun job, because it is. And just build your confidence up and take the damn test. It's not that hard. I know you can do it. So
awesome.
Great advice.
Secondly, I just want to thank y'all too for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no, absolutely. And before we cut you off here, we do have one last question.
Yep.
We ask everybody, do you have a mantra that you live by?
No, I don't know, man. A mantra.
I mean, I heard like 7 over the past last 20 minutes.
Yeah, everything I do in life, I just try to be a good dad, to be honest with you. Like that's huge for me. So I know it's cliche, I know it's boring, but
nope, that is A-okay in my book.
Yeah.
I think you check a lot of boxes if you're doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
It's a good fallback. So, but yeah, even surveying. Like if I'm a good surveyor, then maybe my son will become a surveyor. I have a 3rd grader too, so you never know.
You never know.
There you go.
What about you, Peter? Anything else?
No, I think it's
parting words for us.
Be happy and live your work your wage. Don't friggin' work is not everything. That's where I'm at the moment. You've got one life and enjoy it.
Yes, I love it.
Coming from me.
That's great stuff. Really, I'd like to take your advice, mostly Peter. But Dane, it's been awesome. You've been great time having you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we went for a couple of weeks trying to figure it out. Man, adding value, making friends. If anyone likes to be a guest on the show, we always are booking. I think we're booking out into September right now. Please email us, info@thegeoholics.com. Boys Don't Cry by The Cure, available everywhere. Until next time, everyone, couple takeaways. First of all, check out the Fundamentals of Surveying Exam Study Manual by Dane. You can find that at surveyingmanual.myshopify.com. If you can teach something, you really know it. Mentor. Know the material. Be enthusiastic. Be a good dad.
Yes.
Can't say that enough. And most importantly, be safe and healthy.
Thank you.